back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Hallie Baird.
It is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show on 860 AM WNOV and W293CX 106.5. So happy you've joined us on this great Saturday morning here in Milwaukee. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com is your destination for all things gardening. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can send us questions. You can tweet us. We'll help you with your garden and your problems. Let's go to the IvyOrganics.com hotline, Holly, and bring in our next guest. We're heading down to Texas.
Amanda is a single mom living in the Arlatex area, growing much of her own food and building a homestead on her family's land. She shares her passion for gardening, food preservation, natural and frugal living on her YouTube channel, Freedom Acres. Welcome to the program, Amanda.
Hi.
We're so glad you're taking time out of your busy day to join us on the program and sharing some of your gardening and homesteading and frugal living wisdom with all of us.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, recently you were processing your herbs for winter. Now, how do you store your fresh herbs to get the best results for keeping them over the winter?
Well, I used to just hang them upside down in my pantry, but I found like I wasn't using them as effectively as I should or as often as I should. So I started using my food processor to break them down, and now I just keep them in empty glass shaker bottles that I recycled from when I was using store-bought seasonings. And just last week, I posted a video on my YouTube channel where you can see me process those.
So is it, when you're drying or when they're grinding them up in the food processor, is there a point where you don't want to turn into like do you want to go to a powder, or do you want at least to have some kind of chunks there when you're doing that?
By pulsing it, it doesn't seem to break down all the way. I like them to have flakes, but it's really personal preference. Some people prefer a powder.
Okay.
It's just individual.
Okay. So you're a single mom with a toddler. How do you balance the homestead by yourself and being a single parent?
Well, to be fair, I'm not doing this alone. I am on my parents' land, and they help me considerably with her. If I'm doing anything dangerous or, I'm building something, my daughter stays with them up near the house, and so that helps me considerably. But most of the time, she is with me, and she likes to snap beans. She likes to play in the dirt, so she's with me all the time. I find that by keeping her busy, it makes me more available to do the things that I have to do. We also don't have livestock yet. We're still working on a chicken coop and things like that. So right now it's mostly just gardening and food preservation.
So, does she, when you take her to the garden, because you've got on your videos a decent-sized garden, yes. Does she, want to be in the garden, or does she, I don't want to go type of attitude?
Oh, she loves it. Like any toddler, she loves to play in the dirt. She likes to follow bugs and pick up rocks and pile them up. And I find that by keeping her engaged, it makes it much easier for me. So we talk, we sing. She wants to know what we're doing. So I say, oh, well, this is okra, baby. You love fried okra. This is where it comes from. And that really keeps her interest.
That's great. Now, for those who don't know, what are essential oils?
Essential oils are just pure liquid extracts that are steam released or pressed from plants. They have therapeutic properties that support wellness and soothe many health concerns, but I also use them in my garden.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how do you use them in your garden, and then how do you see the effects of that result by using them in the garden?
More than anything in my garden, I use them as a pest control. White flies, slugs, worms, things like that. It's a deterrent. So I use cedarwood, rosemary, and peppermint every single week in a spray with water. And I spray the leaves in at the base by the soil. And that has helped considerably with those pests.
Because it messes up the pest sensors, and they don't understand the smell, and then they go to your neighbor's yard and garden and destroy it instead of yours.
So, aside from in your garden, why else would you encourage people to use essential oils?
Well, they have helped me considerably in my health. By age 19, I was on multiple medications and not doing very good. But as I've transitioned to this lifestyle, growing my own food, using essential oils to support my body's natural functions, it's just really helped me a lot in clarity of mind, in weight loss, in motivation, in so many different areas.
And
the face of
go ahead.
The face of healthcare really is changing right now in our country, And I feel like essential oils, when you're using a pure therapeutic grade, you're able to get at the front of that and really take care of issues at home. And at the core of homesteading is the idea that you should be able to take care of yourself at home.
Right, and I just want to put a disclaimer out there. If you're, we're not doctors, but Holly and I and Amanda, you've seen the benefits of what essential oils can do for simple sinus infections or stomach aches or a number of different elements that our listeners, I would encourage to at least look into the possibility of what essential oils may be good for certain ailments or illnesses that could save them a trip to the doctor or just get drugs that are not really suited for that particular situation.
Certainly, and something that I've made available to your listeners today is a free ebook from me. So if you guys are more interested in oils and want to learn more about how to use them and what they're good for, contact me on Facebook at Freedom Makers and then the numeral 1, Freedom Makers 1. And if you send me a message, I can get that ebook out to you guys. And then I also have a gardening class on Facebook on Tuesday nights that you guys can go to learn more about how to use those oils in your garden specifically.
Well, there you go. So you are on the journey of creating a homestead, everything you need in one spot, essentially what a homestead is. Grow your own food, your meats, all that. Maybe our listeners are not in that same mindset of, hey, I want to have a homestead, but maybe they want to have a large garden in their backyard, or a young listener wants to start gardening, but their parents are totally against it. You kind of fell in this kind of realm where your parents didn't say that you're crazy, but they didn't really support you in the whole homestead journey at the beginning. How can our listeners who maybe want to go on a journey such as growing as much food as they can or creating a mini homestead in the city, how do you get everybody on board who is resistant or may think you are just fell off the crazy train?
Well, that's a really great question. In the beginning, I think they did kind of think I was a little out there. I don't think they thought that I could really do this or that I would do this, or I think they thought I'd change my mind when I saw how much hard work this was. But really what helped us the most, I think, was finding a common ground. My daughter's life is number one priority at this home site. Everything that any of us do really goes back to making sure she has the best quality of life that she can have. And in our home, we believe that is best, or her life will be the best with mom at home instead of sending her to daycare. So when I approached them with this idea, I said, look, I think that I can grow enough food that it can lower our grocery budget enough that I can stay at home. And so they said, okay, well, let's see. Let's just try it. And so I stayed home and just grew as much as I could, and they started to see a difference in their health. All of our health had improved. The quality of our food was better. There was more food. I was preserving food for winter. Our grocery budget was affected. Really right now, mostly what we're buying is meat and dairy. Most of the vegetables that we consume are from here, and most of our fruit comes from U-Pick farms that we go to in the area, which saves on our grocery budget too. So really finding a common ground and realizing it would make a better life for my daughter is where we started.
Did you grow up with a garden with your family, or was this a whole new thing for your parents?
Well, my dad is from the city. My mom grew up with a garden. As a child, we had a garden off and on, a couple of tomato plants, things like that, but nothing on the scale that we're doing now. And I remember once as a teenager, my mom sent me back in the house and called me Zsa Zsa Gabor. She said, you're not suited for this, because I absolutely refused to do weeds. I didn't want to be in the dirt, so they really didn't think I would ever do this.
And to fast forward a number of years now, your dad's from the city, but he's now purchased tractor, brush hog, cultivators in order to help your garden produce more and allow you to spend less time in the garden, more time preserving the food and with your daughter.
Right. Well, once they saw that our quality of life was improving and our budget was having a little more flex room, it made sense to keep supporting this, because I keep growing more and doing more. And once we get animals on the homestead, we're going to be more self-sufficient, and that made a difference.
And with this little journey, a bonus thing of this was that you've lost a lot of weight over the last couple of years, and that wasn't even part of the whole, hey, here, I'm doing this because of weight loss thing.
Right. I was a size 18 when my daughter was born. Now I'm a 5.
Over a 2-year period of all this consistent work. Now, true enough, you're in Texas, and you get a lot more warm days than we do here in Wisconsin. But the journey and the information is still universal.
Oh, certainly. Yes, and I would encourage any mom, single or otherwise, if you have a dream, if it's your dream to stay home with your children, I would seriously consider growing some of your own food. It may make enough dent in your budget that you can do that. I don't believe any mom, single or otherwise, should have to work outside the home if being a homemaker is her dream. And by doing this and my YouTube channel and getting into essential oils and things like that, I'm actually now working on a secondary income. So not only am I growing my own food now, I'm also creating an income that will last into the future and support us forever.
That's fantastic. Now, if people want to watch your videos and follow your journey, and as you mentioned, that ebook, how can they find you?
Sure. I'm on Freedom Acres pretty much everywhere. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. Just as Freedom Acres, and you'll see my picture there.
Well, Amanda, we greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to share some of your gardening, homesteading, and essential oil wisdom, frugal living with all of us and our listeners.
Certainly. Thank you so much for having me on. And if you guys are interested in that ebook, definitely let me know via a message.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Amanda.
If you're in the Milwaukee or surrounding areas, just tune your radio to 860 AM or FM 106.5. You can also find links on our Facebook pages, The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener and Home Canning. Our website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, click on the radio tab at the top of the page, then click on the Listen Live button, and you'll have immediately access to our live program. Mobile devices work very well also. Go to your app store and download for free the TuneIn app or the Simple Radio app. Then search WNOV 860, save it to your favorites, and you can have access to our radio show live wherever you're at in the world. Our radio program will also have podcast replay under the radio tab several days following the live broadcast. You can find all of these links in the show notes below. Our show airs 9 to 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every Saturday, March through the end of October. And we want to thank our sponsors because without them, this would not be anywhere possible. You can find all of their links under the radio tab on our website at thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.